Welcome back. You're watching the Power Breakfast Show, and this morning on the Power interview, we're hosting the NACADA chairman, Mr. John Mututho, to talk about matters at NACADA, their plans, how their campaign is doing, and find out what is in store for us, seeing as Christmas is almost here. The Christmas season is almost here. Yeah, and I'm joined by Mutegi Njau. Thank you very much. Very good morning to you, Mr. Mututho.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for coming.
Hey, thank you.
So, do you have anything up your sleeve for us?
A lot of it. Mututho functions flowers during Christmas festivity.
Yes.
Because that's a time when we all would like to enjoy, particularly this time when we are celebrating our journey towards first world. We must also celebrate in style. First, by ensuring that anybody who is going to drink is going to live and see another day, to see New Year. We will not have New Year with a lot of cancer cases. We will not live with so many dead. We must have order. Let's drink alcohol in volumes, but safely. We also take safe alcohol. And most importantly, let's not mix alcohol with the drugs. And there are a lot of people out there who are trying to do that. Let's not have that concoction at all. So this Christmas, incidentally, Mutegi is going to be one of the most dangerous in terms of children and youngsters' exposure to drugs and alcohol. Because last holiday, during August holiday, we said there should be no tuition. We all celebrated. I did celebrate too. It was a good policy.
Yes.
But did you imagine what kids are going to do between the concrete blocks? We did not give an alternative. So these kids have formed themselves into all manner of organizations, silently. So you find a kid, say, trapped in Buruburu concrete. I'm saying concrete because there is no playing field, there is nothing, and they are left there. Some of them have developed all manner of things now, and that is a very, very fertile ground for drugs and alcohol abuse. So when the kids are left at home, they soon discover each other, that the block, 2 blocks down, there is so-and-so, the other block, there is so-and-so, and now they can sit with the TV, start talking about drugs, talk about guns, talk about other things, and we have gangs, real terror gangs, who are kids in the city now. So in this, that was the foundation. So now they're exploded in December. So as John Mututho and the chairman NACADA, I have a very urgent task to do, to intercept that and make sure that we have an alternative. That is preoccupying my mind more than even who closes at 5 or who doesn't close at 5. That's more urgent. And what we plan to do, if you could allow me, is that we want to tell all school and school administrators, including the county government, that they allow schools to be open. When they come on the first day, all the kids from the neighborhood come. We establish a leadership, a kind of leadership, in the school compound. So some kids require athletics, others require dancing, others require films, others require drama, and so forth. They are separated into those social outfits, maybe piano, keyboard. They do the elections there. They have their chair, they have their treasurer, and then they will be engaged during the holiday doing specific activities now sponsored by various organizations like yourselves, Raw Media, and others. In the school now, they have a leadership. We will have the tight security there. That way we will keep the drug traffickers and people who are peddling alcohol, the taxi drivers. They are very good in that. Over the holiday, they move around from house to house with alcohol in their boots, in the boot of the cars and so forth. Yeah.
May I interrupt you, Mr. Mututho?
Yes.
First of all, you said you're chairman.
Yes.
This first question, I think people don't ask you that question.
Yeah.
You're the chairman of NACADA.
Yes.
There's a person in charge who is the bureaucratic person employed full-time
Yes.
for that job.
The job, yeah.
He is nowhere to be seen. Now, you have taken over his job. You want now to take over now the job of education. You'll be running schools during holiday. Surely, do you have the mandate? Do you have the ability to do that? Do you have the system? Because that's an enormous task. Can you imagine organizing schools holidays for every community? During the holiday in August, April, you organize them so that they don't take drugs. Surely, you are taking too much than you can
No.
Control.
A dynamic chairman is supposed to control policy. It's up to you. You are the chair of your PTA to listen to John Mututho. Go and do your thing. I cannot go to Kariobangi Primary School and start organizing the gate and gatekeepers. You pick the ideas from me, you implement. It's for your kids. You as parents, you'll be the financiers, you'll be the people who are going to deal with the kids. You have an alternative. You can sit at home, wait, and then wait for the drug traffickers to come with the neighborhood and peddle the drugs. Or listen to John Mututho to come and say that it is possible, it is doable. Administratively, we can talk to the governor, we can talk to the county officials so that they can make the schools available. Then the parents who are already structured, they have PTAs, they have BOGs, they look through. I'm not taking over education. First of all, please excuse me on that particular bit. I have no interest. In fact, let alone taking the CEO's job in NACADA, I have no interest. But you heard the president yesterday. He says there will be going to be cheap power. It does not mean that he's going to run the turbines at Geothermal. No, he will not do that. It's up to the technocrats now to come and look and facilitate that.
The president has systems that have done that. Have you, for instance, talked to the Kenya Nationalization of Parents? Have you talked to the PTAs? Have you talked to the board of governors? All these ideas are emanating from your head.
First of all, let me ask, let's say, what are the parents doing about it? I raised the figures on that alcohol is now being abused to a level of, 83% of the parents or teachers don't know students are abusing drugs. It's now 11 days. Except for one of your sister stations in Oro who called me. And now yourselves, nobody has talked, supported or opposed that finding. Not the minister not the cabinet secretary, not NAT, not KUPET, not the parent associations. Nobody has come. We all sat there, looked. We were either happy or sad, but we sat there. Not even the bishops have called me. Yesterday I got a lot of messages, Mashujaa Day. The content I don't need to disclose. But surely, this culture of silence, somebody has to do something. We can't all of us sit here. You must do it the way we are doing it here today in Power Breakfast. Somebody must come and talk and say, we have a problem. And I do recall Mwangale, the late Mwangale, during the time when you were also, I think you were in the,
yes,
you remember?
Stone can
yes. And
stone.
People didn't want to hear what he wanted to say. But he said in Parliament and roared that there is a story of the hyena. And the hyena met a stone and told the stone, I know you can't talk, sure. But I want to say it because I know you can hear and you'll have heard me. I'm telling Kenyans this morning, Power Breakfast, note the day, 21st of October, a day after Mashujaa Day. You may assume what you want to assume. You may assume Mututho to be a party spoiler. You may take anything you want to do, but listen to me. Your children have a problem.
Sorry, Mr. Mututho, let me cut you short there. There's something you said earlier about a policy. This is you coming up with a policy that you hope schools and parents will be able to implement.
Yes.
What if they don't implement? Do you think you'll have failed in that? And do you have a plan B if plan A, which is policy implementation, does not take place?
In administering drugs and alcohol and substance abuse, you look at it in two levels, two broad policy statements. One is supply suppression. Supply suppression is to stop those trucks which are bringing cannabis from Ethiopia, those ones coming from all the way from western and bordering countries. Try to get a huge quantity of alcohol, which is adulterated alcohol, coming through our border from Tanzania. That is supply suppression. Brewing up of the ships which are bringing in cocaine, heroin, and all that kind of stuff. That is supply suppression. You are trying to cut the supplies. Then the demand suppression. You try to, first of all, treat the people who are already on that problem so that they don't raise demand. Then you try to, everything you can, humanly possible, to try and stop new people from being recruited to the virus, just like Ebola. So in learning the two equations, you come now to the question of the students. The students are coming home for holiday. What measures do we have as a government, as individuals, as parents, as schools? What measures do we have this morning to to announce and tell kids what are they going to do in the holiday. If you leave them idling between the concrete blocks, I'm saying the kiosk next door could be the vendors for alcohol and drugs, and they're going to be recruited. So to stop to stop access, and let me emphasize access, because in the world, and I've been to international forums, and next weekend I'll also go for another one. The last one I went was 2009. There are only 3 reasons why people drink or get hooked to drugs. Number 1 is access. Access to cheap alcohol, access to cheap drugs, and so forth and so on. Access. Number 2 is social habit. Social habit. You can define them through and through. Cousins parties, family parties, odhoni, and things like that. Final one are people who are alcohol dependent or alcoholics. They must access a bit of alcohol to remove what they call lock, on every day. So those are 3 reasons why they drink. So if you were now to work on demand reduction, you have to treat these people, these guys who are already hooked,
the addicts.
The addict. Then you have to come and control some of those social habits. The social habits that are introducing a lot of alcoholism into the estates and into homes and so forth and so on. And what I'm trying to tackle now, if you listen to me carefully, then you have to look at access. By knocking off those kiosks next door, which are known to be supplying those chewing gums raised with the drugs, the shop next door which has tampoons specially designed for ladies or with a bit of cocaine, heroin in that, trying to look at the manufacturers of hash cake, manufacturers of weed cake, trying to look at Kubel distributors, trying to look at all these manner of things. Those are now access strategies. All these strategies are supposed to be implemented by various bodies. Like, for instance, on supply suppression, that is police. I'm not police commander. I tell them. And you saw me with a piece of paper this morning, which was given by some people, some of the personalities in Inoro here. As when they went to Nakuru, somebody gave them a piece of paper. This one matters to me. It says and describes a situation in Bahati. And in that Bahati place, they are talking of a bad thing happening there. Now, when I see this, I go there and get the higher offices at Harambee House and others. And I want to tell you, it's good to say police are corrupt. It's good to say chiefs are corrupt. It's good to say everybody is corrupt and that you are clean yourself. That's very good. Excellent. But let me put it for the purpose of record that between May and June, in our hotline 1192, 1192, we received about 3,300 reports like these ones. Out of that, police took action in 2,225. 2,225, they took action. And the courts have taken action in nearly all those cases that were reported and action taken. So the public should not give up. They should be able to encourage to report. Report to NACADA 1192 or report to me directly or any of the other officials. Sure, there are police officers like you heard in Kiambu yesterday, the commissioner saying, they move around collecting money every day. There are people there with good mobile phones who can photograph. I would challenge Kenyans this morning for breakfast. Anybody who has taken a photograph of a police officer or given me the registration number of that vehicle and I never took action, I would really be interested. I would encourage you to report, talk it up.
So what are you saying? Or you are suggesting that members of the public who have mobile phones that can take pictures of policemen or vehicles taking bribes, or they report to you?
Yeah, they send me the message.
They send you the message?
One thing, you see, like a piece of paper like this one is so literal, but so important.
What evidence is there?
There's no problem because now we send investigators. It's a sign. If you see smoke, it's not up to you to assume that that could not be smoke and start bringing the theory that it could be a cigarette. But no, once you have smoke, then you start investigating properly. Once you confirm there is fire and this is electrical, you take the necessary action. That's what it's supposed to be. Now this one, to me, is like gold, to me, because now I know at Bahati there is a problem. There's an OCPD who is only 20 meters from the area, and is collecting money from the sellers. That's what is written here. There is somebody near a borehole. There is, those stories are put here.
So they're there.
They are here. So if the OCPD is 20 meters away, why should I go to the OCPD now? The OCPD has a boss. He has a county commander. And if the county commander cannot take action, within seconds, I'll get their bosses at Nairobi. And after all, if none of them takes action, I can get the commander-in-chief. And nobody stops. He appointed me to do the job on his behalf, not on my behalf. So I take, when they don't respond, I get the commander-in-chief and tell him, hey, boss, hii ni yako, yeah? And the matter stops there. That's why we have been able to be number one as NACADA. Out of all the agencies under the presidency, we are reading now. And I'm glad that Kenyans made it happen because they talk. When this one comes to my hand, please note there will be action.
There will be action.
Consider it done.
Okay, and let's now go back to the school program that you want to initiate, or that you have already initiated. And there's a question of, you have already talked about it, so people know that this is going to be happening in schools. Don't you think then that makes people have clever ideas or more clever ways of passing this drugs and alcohol within the school?
We will be we keep the beat ourselves. By the time they plan, we are with them. And the next level, if they want to use the levers like they used in Embu, no, in Kirinyaga, where there's a small stream passing through the school, and then they will drop the drugs there, they will come floating, and then they are fished downstream. We keep tapped on all those things. When they want to come and put in ball pen, a pen, say, I was looking for a pen.
Yes. And
they stack it with a lot of that inhalers. Then when a kid is seated and is trying to write, is still inhaling and the teacher doesn't know, we know. Sooner or later we catch up. And then when we know, we announce so that we tell the teachers, be careful. This kid who doesn't look like he's concentrating and is constantly doing something around the mouth, the nose, with the pen, means there's a problem. And then you do it. So these people, I'm warning them that Kenya will not be a transit point. Kenya will not be a place to store and transact your dirty business. We now have a map, and I'm waiting for my bosses to announce the measures they're going to do. Anybody who is using drugs, anybody who is selling drugs, anybody who is selling alcohol, illicit or legal, anybody who is involved in alcohol trade, the stocks you are holding, we have the data now. And it's up to the commander-in-chief to make the announcement on what he wants to do. So there is nowhere to hide. The best you can do is just park, go to the neighboring countries if you are lucky, and leave Kenyans to develop in peace.
You know, Mr. listening to you, I think like those people who are preaching the wilderness.
Why?
Because...
Like Moses.
Yeah,
he delivered people from Egypt.
When you look at drug abuse in this country, big drug dealers, we all know them in Mombasa. Talking about that ship which was destroyed, which some people say was illegal. Big drug dealers who are importing, bringing drugs. They're well known, but you don't touch them.
Maybe you can
they're politically connected.
Maybe let
Akasha for years.
Let me
give you an example of Akasha because he's dead.
Let me tell you.
He peddled drug here in connection to big offices.
Let me tell you.
And that system has not changed.
Let me tell you, I campaigned for Uhuru Kenyatta from year 2000 through 2002 because I believed he would be the first president ever in Africa to do things my way, to come and address the problem in terms of alcohol and drug abuse. Show me one of them, those ones we are talking today now, who can face the Jubilee administration and say that Mimi ni Bwana Kubwa, I'm the controller of this region or this other one. Those days are gone. Even in US, by the way, just to keep tabs, even in US have changed the person in charge of drugs and alcohol in US, the US. There's a guy who is no nonsense. In UK, they have done the same. Their systems, these people thought that you can buy life for money. In Mexico, they arrested the biggest, the boss, the actual boss of the drug world. They arrested him. These are things I think Mutegi, we should be able to celebrate. That we have leadership now around the world who links drugs to terror, who links drugs to abuse in economic regimes and so forth. And once identified that way, the leaders are now coming to it. And I'm now telling Kenyans here today, if you don't know, you know there's Nyumba Kumi, you know there's whatever you want to call them, the chiefs or whatever it is, the mapping has been done. We know who you are. It's not
can you tell me, for example, in Mombasa, drug by young people in Mombasa?
Yes.
What is the change? Despite NACADA being there, what is the change? The people, the old men there, the Muslims, the elders are complaining. They have not been able to manage it. In Mombasa, for instance.
Okay, you followed the news yesterday from the governor, Joho. You followed the stories the other day from the commissioner.
Yes, Marwa.
Marwa the other day.
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, in as far as you can remember from 1963, when did you have a DC come so clear like my friend Marwa doing what he's doing? When did you hear a governor, they were not there anyway that time, come and say that the police vehicle is the one which is being used? And from there, I remember, IG Kemaru, whom we were with over the weekend, is reasoning and is taking action. Those are the people, those are bold moves that we are trying to do. And the public needs to be educated on the same, that even a police officer can be a trafficker.
How come you're not coming out with the success stories? Because there's that where the commissioner has, said we know ABC,
No,
the governor. Yes, but you're not coming out and saying Kirigo is the one we caught today.
We caught Kirigo and we held him in court.
Yes.
And he has been given 15 years, 30 years.
If I was not before you here, was before the Chief Justice, I would answer that question. But you know the situation with the Kenyan law system. I would like to name these guys here. I would like to name the matter and talk about the matter which is in court. And there are a lot of cases. But you know the constitution dispensation that we signed in 2010 and which we cherish does not allow us to do some of those things. That you cannot come now and say John Mututho is doing A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah.
But
blah.
I will send a reporter to court and see Mr. Mohammed, whatever his name is, or Mr. Kamau Njoroge.
Oh, please
in
do.
court.
Please do.
They are not there.
Please do. Just check on the arrests of last week and pick them and the volumes and of the drugs caught. Check the police. The police now are the investigation. My friend, the director CID, would give you that easily. Under investigation because they must have been involved in one of these thing or another. But you see, even as we do these things, there is also...
They are done with the protection of the police. Not necessarily authoritatively, but policemen, many policemen, those drug dealers or people who sell changa, they will not sell changa without some policemen going there to collect the dues.
Let me tell you this. For instance, in Umoja, it is known that police are collecting 1.8 million shillings daily. Daily.
In Umoja?
Umoja.
In Nairobi?
Yeah, in Umoja, Inako. We have put it before and we have said it before. So action is being taken. We also know the criminal gangs are taking a same amount. We also know that out of the 70 outlets in Umoja, Inako, only 5 are licensed. We also know there are about 1,000 counterfeiters in alcohol. We also know that, let me continue the knowing.
What is your knowledge for?
Now, I've told
Kariobangi Light Industries. Everybody knows.
Okay.
Kariobangi Light Industries is the center of FIC.
And the Dagoretti.
And
Dagoretti Kawangwale.
So what is your knowledge for?
Yes, the knowledge is that as me, I cannot come and sack a county commissioner. I cannot come and arrest a police officer. But listen to me. But by way of reporting and defining the crime precisely, I have a mechanism of making.
You have said you can go all the way to the head of state.
Yes.
Who appointed you directly?
Yes.
Yet why is this happening?
Wait, I told you before.
The road to State House is open.
Wait, I told you about, if you look at this week, perhaps, I cannot give a timetable for the bosses. Just wait the next couple of days and listen. I told you, which I thought you should celebrate, that we have mapped, we know who is trafficking what and who is doing what and who is where before your Christmas. We are preparing for Christmas. We know, like they did, that certain ships do bring that bad cargo here. and that was done. We know what is happening on the Mombasa highway. All those things are known. But you have to approach such that you strike with a finality. You strike with a finality. In actual fact, the former PS, Interior, was just in the final stages of planning, but he needs to hand over on some of the things, the strategies that are being worked on here for these ones. And we went for meetings up to midnight on those plannings and the other things. They are there, they are plans. Every situation is being analyzed carefully, and a situation and action will be taken.
Let me tell you,
okay, sorry.
Mr. Mututho.
Yes, do.
The seriousness of the crime in this terrorism, for instance, has been penetrated because of corruption. The same thing with the drugs. People come here, they are foreigners, they get passports, they get work permits, they get IDs with the immigration department. I'm told that change is going on there. Same thing with drugs. Drugs come here because people protect them. Can you imagine 6 billion worth of drugs coming to this country? We are told it's destroyed. Some people are sacked. Finally, we hear this drug was not even destroyed.
Which one now was not destroyed?
There was some drug which was brought here, and there was a lot of hullabaloo.
That was before we came in.
Yeah, before you came in.
Yeah, so we should celebrate that we are on. Ours was destroyed before the full glare of the camera, and I was there witnessed. And my friend, Dr. Massa, Miss Massa, the head of anti-narcotics, was personally lifting those containers. And I was there when the equipment is being checked to confirm that the staff that finally going there is there. And the cameras were there. Your cameras were there. You had more than 2 cameras, just to remind you, from Citizen Group. And there were different vessels, and we were there, all of us. What we are saying is that what you had, that is history. Yeah, Mutegi, you can never make progress if you are a driver by looking constantly in the rear view mirror. Because
I'm forced to look at the rear view mirror.
Because the best
I'm also looking ahead. Because Kariobangi right in the street is still there. What you are calling Dagoretti is still there. Why?
Let's now look at what some of our viewers back at home and at work are saying. And morning power breakfast. I'm a teacher. I did a research on alcoholism and youth, and through the abuse drugs from secondary school. I've presented a paper at NACADA conference and currently training on addiction counseling. We need NACADA in the grassroots to involve us, but you're in the right track. That is Mutai saying. Yeah. Then there's someone who says, tell Mututho to just quit us. He just talks stuff and does nothing. Ask him to visit Kamulo in Ruai, where Bangi, Kumi are readily available everywhere with the blessings of our chiefs. Someone else. Thank you for the good work, Mr. Mututho. I'm a resident of Madare, behind Annan Petrol Station, 10 meters from Juja Road. We have been reporting for more than 5 years, and nothing has been done. And everything is done.
Kamuru?
No, this is Madare, a place called Nigeria.
Yes.
Yes, it is the biggest market of drugs and alcohol.
They've been reporting where?
Well, they say they've been reporting for more than 5 years. So we don't know where they're reporting. But
yeah, honestly, I've just said, the latest report I've got before I got here was one from Minoro, which was from Nakuru. I take not more than 30 minutes to act and approve and do that one. And in terms of what the viewers are saying, in fact, I share their frustration. I don't get frustrated. I'm not the quitting type myself. I go and solve the problem. What makes the drug people enjoy mostly is when you come and accept to be frustrated. The day they tell you, Mutegijao, don't air anything on drugs and alcohol in power breakfast, and you reason, then we have lost the war.
There is a question I asked you before, whether you have systems. Like, for instance, those people in Kamulu and Madare. Will you go there personally yourself, or your people?
No, that's done.
It is where people will go.
Oh, already there are people reasoning to me. Already, and they're not necessarily NACADA people. From here, we know who to call. There is a desk at Inspector General's office. I want to disclose. There is an officer, very senior officer, who takes these stories and is going to call OCS Flani. What are you doing? This matter has come up. The other day I said at a place called Musafiri on Naivasha Highway. Down there are 6 bars which operate 24 hours. And trust me, 45 minutes later, they were not attacked by Naivasha. They were attacked by people from Kenagop. The OCS Kenagop, Magumu, is the one who came in. And my friend, the OCS Naivasha, who's been able to maintain sanity, was getting the report after that one was done. Let's look at a government like one unit for the purpose of this fight. let's look everybody as participating to that by way of information. Please don't expose yourself. Don't go confront these people like people do sometimes. Don't do that. Just pass them to me, and then you can hold me to account. Telling me that like Kamuru now.
That Kamuru,
Like Kamuru is 5 years reporting.
Quite
I'm
a
hearing
number
it for the first
and the chiefs are enjoying.
Quite a number of SMSs, and we'll email them to you.
Oh, yeah, do.
Because quite a
Do.
number of people
The
have,
chiefs in Kamuru, according to that
in
person.
Chogoria, wine and spirits are open from 6 a.m. People
You know,
drinking.
In Chogoria,
Yes.
wines and spirits places.
Yes,
You-
that
you
are
know-
open from 6 a.m.
You know when my minister Honorable Lenku did sack 52 people. Among the things, the noise that was loudest is why were the 52 sacked. There was a lot of noise, a lot of kelele. Everything you do, there is a counteraction. And what we are saying is that sacking is not the solution. Sacking is not the solution. We have to find a way. Under Section 50 of Mututho laws, under Section 19 of the NACADA Act, which talks about enforcement, and which is going to be a subject later in the day today with my bosses, we have to find a way, a formula that is watertight, so that these police officers who have become cashiers of death are dealt with that way. Then you don't also release the police to the field who has been peddling drugs without monitoring him. These things have to be done. Just like I keep on saying, that the kids, you chase a kid, a bad boy from a certain family, from a certain school, you come and say, okay, you go home, you bad boy, you go home, and you bad girl, go home. Which home are they going to? Lavington. So they become the principal agents for that particular area. They start supplying the drugs to watchmen, house girls, some parents, and so forth and so on. So we are working out comprehensive systems that if you are bad, like you are being defined, you don't go home. You either go to jail or go to rehabilitation so that you are treated. But you cannot dump garbage in public place, because these people, they are garbage. They're literally, and I'm sorry to call them garbage, but you cannot have a man who is driving a car and is at the university because he's a major trafficker. Then you say he's expelled so that now he can go to his place in Karen. What you are doing is that you are now saying he become the Lord of Karen and continue that bad habit. Get him. Make sure that any asset he has been dealt with according to Anti-Narcotics Act of 1994. Let him look at the individual himself. Take him for free treatment. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. That is the kind of administration that NACADA is trying to bring forward. But going to tell kids go home, these are the people, the drug traffickers, you will just look and laugh at them. They start transferring things, your assets at the registrar of companies and so forth and so on very quickly. They are government agents who are now looking and focusing. Every new set of crime will have an equally strong measure to deal with them. They are very dynamic.
Mr. Mututho, as you have these great plans to curb the alcohol and drug menace in our country, what are we doing about sensitization of the dangers of partaking in drugs and alcohol? Because if someone comes and tells me that this drug gives you a nice high, I get hooked to it. I don't know the dangers. Is NACADA doing anything?
Yes, I was explaining to you what happened to these holiday camps that are going to be near your home. And in that place, you have a NACADA desk, which will show you now truly what is a weed cake, how it looks like, so that you identify. Many people don't know. The tampons that are calling heroin or cocaine will be shown. The mirror and all the variants will be shown there at those places. So because some kids don't know. The white powder could be unga, could be anything. You don't know. So there will be serious sensitization happening there as we are going on, because kids are very good. Once they know,
so who is organizing those holiday camps?
We are calling for people, the private sector mainly, the private people like you, the NGOs and everybody else. They're the ones to try and work out logistics.
Have they started doing those things?
Yes, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of. I started talking about it 2 weeks ago, and already I have about 3 dozen agencies who are talking to me, picking my ideas to try to see how they can perfect. I'm insisting that the charges be less than 2,000 per child, so that every child can afford. I'm insisting that all companies of goodwill who are going to have this Christmas, to please try those kids who can't afford the 2,000 or 1,000, whatever they will decide, to sponsor those kids, so that the kids come and they are very happy with a nice T-shirt here, with a label. There will be a medical cover, and then there is somebody like you or me, and we are me and you, I think, are qualified to be grandfathers.
Yeah, sure.
We are by ourselves. So that we can walk there and tell the kids how life used to be and how sweet it was without drugs and how it can be. We are looking at pastors, retired pastors, bishops, who will voluntarily go there without being paid. We are looking at the university students too, who are also having a problem. They are going to offer leadership there. They will teach people and the students, young kids, the basis of democratization, the sense to elect people in your small organization dealing with the valuable, to have a chairman and elected democratically, and that is laying the foundation for the future. We are going to have people entertained. Those ones who like dancing, let the kids dance their heads off. Spare a classroom. Those people like Sony Music and other people, or the lower media for that matter, who like to donate equipment, will be good there to go. Let the kids dance. Go eat their githeri or ugari. We are going to encourage people to make kids feel kids, to make kids really enjoy that comfort, instead of leaving them to the hyenas in the estates, instead of leaving them to the people who are already planning very hard on how they are going to do the drug distribution.
Perhaps you are gathering them there for easy access
no,
to
no,
the drugs.
there will be a lot of security things, including cameras. Don't joke with the Jubilee administration. It is serious business. That is the last place to. In fact, I would advise 5-kilometer radius from that area. Don't attempt even to be near if you are a drug trafficker.
But you see, the other thing, now that you brought up the radius issue, there's the other thing about estate bars not being, certain radius within 300 meters within schools, right? But that is still there. That is still rampant.
Yeah, because you see, most of the bars are owned by the police officers themselves.
So then how are we going to change that?
The change is very simple and inevitable. I had a meeting with the Speaker of the Nairobi Assembly and also the necessarily MCAs. I've had a small meeting with casual meeting with the governor, and we are talking. I have spoken to Governor Kabogo on a number of occasions. I've spoken to all these people. There is something in the offing that will make sure, first of all, you don't have any bar in the estates, unless you ask the neighbors to come and approve, because that's what the law says. You cannot come now and you are living in a home, a very nice neighborhood, like they are doing at this place, Valley Arcade, a very quiet neighborhood. Then you come and think you are mightier, you are bigger than God. Yourself, you come and put a nightclub at the middle of somebody because you bought a house. It can't work like that. There must be a system. There must be a law that works. There are so many wrong things we have done, but there are so many good things we have done too. You asked me to account.
If you look at Buruburu Estate,
Yes.
Buruburu was planned by the Commonwealth Development Corporation.
Yes.
There was a place set for shops. All the other buildings were supposed to be residential.
Yeah.
Now Buruburu, every home is a butchery, is a bar, is a hair salon, is a bar, is everything.
Is a chemist.
Is a chemist. Next to you, your bedroom, your neighbor has put a butchery there. The flies from his butchery are coming to a bedroom. Now, who allowed that? I know that that's not your business, but that's the kind of thing that
Who allowed? I can answer because I've been.
There's something called city planning.
Yeah, we have seen systems crumble. We have seen countries fall. We have seen administration fall. But we are also seeing a reconstruction of order, law and order. Yeah. I'm telling you, if Mutegi Jau, you own a plot that was constructed on a place that was scheduled to be a public utility, please start disappearing from it. Because this administration is going to require to get the land commission is coming there. After they do the state house, they are coming to those estates. There are some people who think they are too clever. They went ahead and every land that was meant for public utility they took. Even the rural areas. I know some places like in Gilgil and other places where people just came and took that land. That's why children don't have a place to play. And that's why we are talking about primary schools. Those people must understand that time is running out. The costs of changing ourselves from third world bottom towards first world has a cost. One of the costs is that the conmen, those people who don't believe in order, must accept there will be order. You cannot overlap a car the way it used to be. It can't work again because they are cameras, and you are going to be grounded by my friend Chairman Kinyanjui. They will ground you permanently. You cannot have a license which is bought from a supermarket. You cannot do like the Kisumu people found out, even when you're in the Kisumu city. You cannot go and drink and then drive. There must be some kind of order. And talking about driving, NACADA is already, the board we're meeting this week, we are buying an additional 105 alcohol brews, both to assist in the schools and also in the highways, to strengthen that sister, the brother or cousin unit. Honorable Kinyanjui is a unit. We are having another 53, which you can detect from your breath whether you have been on drugs. And that will be the new registration to allow that one. So that those people who have taken, or who have taken about a combination or a concoction of about 16 drugs, different ones, from your breathalyzer to be picked. Then the people in transport industry will have to understand now and how to deal with you at that level. But you cannot have somebody now like we are going for Christmas, having worked so hard in this station, power breakfast every day. You are waking up before even the cocks crow to come here for this show and to prepare for this show. Then somebody, because stole somewhere or trafficking, he's coming to kill you and your family, and God forbid, while you are keeping left. We can't allow this. We must have sanity. So these people must be intercepted somehow. There must be a system that detects from your breath what drugs you have been on by your behavior, and if you have the suspicion to believe so. They are working on the legalities of it, but with us we are going to do the buying of the equipment, the 553.
What we are going to do by increasing this number, more policemen are going to get richer. Because that's what employee is all about.
No. Let's be positive.
Let's
be positive.
Instruments to the policemen to make money.
In Langata, on Langata Road before the alcohol brew, they were dying 12 people over the weekend. 12. Every weekend, there's 12 people in the morgue. And I've visited those morgues myself. I've seen the pathologists, all same reason why they died. Today we have one per month, and we pass our condolences, one per month. Honestly, Mutegi, we should really appreciate that is progress. You can imagine, last year we lost 7,100 people because of alcohol. That is not funny. In the world, it is 3,300,000 people we lost because of alcohol. We have to celebrate when we do something good.
When we achieve something.
You know the damage you are causing to Kenyan breweries, East African breweries.
And
bar owners.
And bar owners.
So one of them has gone to court. We don't want to come about that. One of them has gone to court because they were just going next to his place. So the place was abandoned. Do you know the damage you are causing even in terms of taxes? Because if people are abandoning bars, they pay tax.
I've looked at you very squarely to tell you, so that I give you the figures.
Yes.
And just before I give you the figures, so that you then authenticate the figures, I want to inform you, because you know you are my friend, that I started at Egerton. I had my BSc at Nairobi University. That I had my postgraduate in economics, environmental economics in Australia, Latob universities, and finally masters in economics. Again, resource economics. So when I talk economics, you respect. I want to develop the ground, so that we talk economics. The economics of alcohol consumption. True, they pay handsomely in terms of revenue, but how much? How much? Let's calculate for you.
Who is the biggest? Before Safaricom, breweries was the highest taxpayer.
How much were they paying?
And VAT.
How much?
VAT.
How much are they paying per year?
I don't remember. I don't know the figures.
Any idea?
But they were the highest.
Don't have any figures.
Ask your viewers how much they're paying, and then we work it out for you backwards. Let me go by being fair to them. Let's go to the UK. We all like being British. We all like, even we are wearing, me and you are wearing suits which resemble British. They will challenge the British people on what they wear.
True.
In Britain now, they are using per annum equivalent of 800 billion shillings to deal with alcohol cases alone. Not family. People who are injured or who are having their throat to be opened or something to do with alcohol, 800 billion. In US, they are dealing with 4.4 trillion Kenya shillings to do with alcohol. How much of that, and it appears in their record, how much do they get from revenue from alcohol? That would be your next assignment, and I would like to do an interview that I give you the real figures, you understand. I respect breweries. In fact, it's a decent company. Keroche, for challenging brewery, that I give the kudos to them. The people, others, even others like small companies like Namun Walker and all these others who are around, I respect them. In Munich, I have gone to the beer festival.
October
Festival. It's festival for 1 month.
Yes.
And that time there were 225 breweries in Munich city who are.
In fact, every bar is a brewery.
It's a brewery.
Every
there.
corner place is a brewery.
It's a brewery.
Yes.
Yeah, you have been there, you know.
I've been.
But you didn't hear anybody die of alcohol.
No,
Nobody dies there. And they have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know, the quality is different. We are not saying that they don't pay taxes, but how much tax are they paying? I am telling them here, and breweries are listening to me. Breweries and Keroche and London Distillers and Qual, between themselves, are controlling only 10% of the spirits market.
only 10%.
Only 10%. So the tax you are celebrating about here is based on 10% sales. Who is doing 90%? The cowboys of this world. And how do you deal with the cowboys? And these are cowboys who are causing havoc. They are the ones who are making people die. They are the ones who are going to do A, B, C, D. They are the ones who don't acquire any license legally. They are the ones who cannot afford to pay the KRA, their dues, the duties and VAT. They are the ones who are smuggling, like what you're having last week, 160 drums at Isinya or Kitengera, or 300 drums which are at the port here. Those are the guys who are doing it. They don't pay no taxes. They are actually the government unto themselves. So when you are talking about taxation, if all the alcohol that is consumed in Kenya is taxed and taxed properly within the current tax regime, then we would have enough money even to pay the teachers and to pay everyone, if they were to pay. But we must have sanity. We must protect industries, including the little ones, who are producing only 10 bottles per day. But they must also play the game fairly to everyone.
Mututho, sorry, we're running out of time. But speaking of, quality, how is the fight against illegal brews going? How is the war going for you and your team?
It is a very bumpy ride. It's very, very bumpy ride. First of all, we did correct 3,300 types of drinks that Kenyans are taking. You are very rich in terms of variety. Now, we took another sample of 50 out of those, and we have found out dangerous chemicals in some of the drinks, including pesticides, herbicides, and aflatoxins and things like that. We have also found some very good alcohol within our market, really nice stuff for anybody who want to take it to get drunk or to enjoy themselves. Illicit defines an alcohol that is not legally obtained or dispensed of. In that context, Muratina does not become illicit if it is done within the confines of KEBS and is dispensed of within what is supposed to. Buza does not become illicit, nor Changa, if you follow the guideline and how it was defined by the traditional people, Wagema, and the ones who did it. But any spirit like you are having here, like what you are seeing here labeled gin, let me tell you, gin or vodka must come from a cereal or potatoes. That means the base ethanol, because we have to start with ethanol anyway, what they call neutral alcohol, ethanol, not methanol, must be from cereals or from potatoes. So anything you are seeing gin in the market, that's supposed to be the origin of that alcohol, the base. If it is brandy, it is, you take wine, like any wine you have, you distill it now, you assume it is Buza now, that wine, then you produce brandy. That is brandy. And that is allowed, a small quantity of methanol is allowed there, natural methanol, on that particular, because of that brewing process and the product. Then you have the rum. Rum is what they produce in Jamaica, and that's from the sugarcane. So what you're having in the Kenyan market is actually rum. You've seen, that's from the sugarcane.
Yeah.
I want to define ethanol. the chemical composition of ethanol remains constant, but where you got it from depends now, makes what you want to produce. When you want to do gin now, and you have the cereals, and then you have, or the potatoes, you have also to know that for it to be gin or vodka, there are the otolized flavors, like onyx seeds for gin. Those seeds are natural. There is nothing like going to get chemical flavor and then coming to cheat people here. So I'm telling the manufacturers who are Kenyans, let us play it straight. Withdraw from the market your fake gins, your fake brandies. Just sell to Kenyans rum, which is what actually you are selling, like they do in Jamaica. There is nothing shameful about that. Make sure you also don't have lead. You don't have any lead on that one. You don't have any agricultural chemicals left as residue. Make sure that the pH is good. Then it's a good spirit for you to drink. That's what we are saying. So in terms of illicit, to answer, you have taken too many words. In terms of illicit, we are taking two dimensions. The ones in Mukuru, kwa Ruben, Mukuru, kwa Jenga, the ones like in Elder Maravina. And I really think there's a DO there called Beatrice, who within 2 weeks has been able to go deep into a valley, a very deep valley, which is over 200 meters. A lady and another lady sergeant who is working with the Kenya Forest Service, and 17 chiefs. Between them, they have poured 28,000 liters. That place where nobody else ever went within the last 2-3 weeks. Those are successes. That is illicit. Now, when you come down to look at again the illicits, the people, there are CID officers who moved from Likoni. I think they are based in Likoni. They drove all the way to Namanga. 4 CID officers led by a corporal, well known to me. And they went and tracked the two lorries which were carrying that substance that has been arrested now at Isenya. You heard about it, the 160 drums. Those are garant men and women. They did not, they are not getting compensated for anything extra.
When they do that, what do the local police think about themselves?
They think they're spoilers. They think they're spoilers. And you know, also it's painful for Inspector General, for the Director CID to take such action. Shows the commitment. So even as we are doing bad things or good things, it is also good to appreciate that there are systems which are being. Now we know that we cannot rely 100% on the guys at the border, yeah, to come and control those things. Now we know you cannot rely on the senior officers at Eldama Ravine to come and deal with this case. And a local DO there has been able to do what they have been unable to do all the years out in that valley, that Pakera Valley. These are the things we go. Now we do not know why, like in Madare Valley here, why the administrators are there in the first place and why they're on the payroll. We do not understand. Because they do everything wrong every day. And that is for somebody else to answer, the ones who pays them. I don't pay them.
Mr. Mututho, your final words. Time is not on our side at all, but you know, your final words to the Kenyans who are watching you this morning.
We are keeping tabs, and for my friend who wanted me to resign, I really would wish to resign. In fact, tomorrow, if he can do it better than me, I would really wish to hand over to him if he could show up and we have a chat. It's not a very healthy kind of job that I do. And you don't sit there if you are not going. You must stay on the track and keep moving. Your life. Yeah?
You fear for your life.
Someone asked
God takes care of you. When you challenged Moi, did you fear for your life and there was special branch?
No.
And you didn't have armory in your house? Nobody ever shot at you.
I was only arrested.
You only arrested, but nobody killed you.
No.
And
Anyway, your final word.
my final word is that, like I said, Kenya is going to be one of the first countries, maybe in the world, to be drug and alcohol free, abuse free, and it's going to be like this. The information we have in our database is being forwarded to the bosses, and the bosses will take a decision that is so conclusive, so conclusive, that we shall now focus on being first world. We shall not look at ourselves being pulled down by the drunkards, by the noisy people around Nation House. You know, Nation House, just outside Nation, where you worked one time. Now somebody has thought it can be one very big, noisy place and walk with impunity. I've warned them, they don't want to hear. I'm going to recommend that if possible, not if possible, an action is taken which is appropriate to their crime on that particular street. There are people who thought that the government does not function. The government is fully functional, and for the first time, all the government agents are talking to each other. KRA, anti-corruption, NACADA, all of them are comparing notes, KEBS, and then taking a joint action. The conclusion is that we are having a joint action, and this Christmas party, drink, but note that there are regulations and laws.
The rules and regulations to be observed. Mr.
Yes.
Mututho, thank you very much for coming this morning.
It was a pleasure.
We would have wanted more time, but we are grateful for what you have been able to tell us this morning. And we'll send you the SMSs that
sure,
we'll
please
definitely
do.
send them.
It's always a pleasure, and also to the nation, to the citizen management. Let me confirm again here that so far it's only your group that has responded to the fact that we have 17% only known source of drugs in schools. 83% of parents and teachers don't have an idea what's happening around themselves. And even Kupet and Nat and everybody else is still baffled. They are not able to talk. Thank you, citizen. At least you are able to respond.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're watching the Power Breakfast Show. Don't go too far.
Kila kitu ni pesa, kila kitu ni kazi, wololo kila kitu